we doing? Go lay down. Go lay down. You gonna lay down?
Okay, you're all set, Jenny.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Virginia Harger, the chairperson of the Shelton Planning and Zoning Commission. Today is Tuesday, April 13th, 2021, and the special meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission is being conducted entirely via Zoom. Is hereby called to order at 6:04 p.m. Protocol for today's meeting was previously reviewed by Corporation Counsel, who indicated to me it is compliant with the executive orders issued by the governor, and here for those attending in person or watching from a remote location. Would everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty
and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. I'll start off with a roll call. And please verbally indicate that you're present when your name is called. Commissioner Kelly?
Present.
Commissioner Parkins?
Present.
Commissioner Radomski? Commissioner Motto?
Here.
Commissioner Tiki?
Present.
Alternate Commissioner Laskos?
Present.
Alternate Commissioner Usel?
Present.
Myself, Commissioner Harger. Mr. Rossetti, our administrator? Mr. Rossetti?
Sorry, present.
Mr. O'Neill, our assistant P&Z administrator and CEO?
Also present.
Mr. Nappy, our projects coordinator?
Present too.
Okay, and Ms. Renasos, our recording secretary.
Present.
Thank you. For the record, Mr. Panico, our consultant, will not be able to participate in today's meeting. And also for the record, I want to wish him and his wife very happy 65th wedding anniversary day early. It's
Wow, that's awesome.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
great.
very nice. So he has family in from out of state and enjoying a little reunion with his aunt who's 99 years old.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, so a couple points before continuing with this afternoon's agenda. This is the commission's 33rd meeting being done via live streaming process. Mr. Rossetti will act as the Zoom meeting host, while members of both commissions will be able to make comments throughout the meeting. The chair asks that you please identify yourself and wait to be recognized before speaking to make sure we're not while speaking over each other, and to make sure our recording secretary is clear as to who's speaking. So we'll begin with an application for a certificate of zoning compliance for a sign. It's application 4995, presented by Art Fix Signs, 901 Bridgeport Avenue. The applicant is requesting two signs for the retail space at the end of the plaza at 901 Bridgeport Avenue. One sign, an owl, is over the entrance, and the second is the name of the business on two lines with the owl logo in the middle. Commissioner Motto, did the sign subcommittee meet to discuss this one?
No.
Okay. And there's pictures of the proposed signs that were on the city's website. Did everybody have a chance to look them over?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right, Mr. O'Neill, do you have any comments?
Oh, you guys kind of covered it.
Okay.
So 901 Bridgeport Avenue, it's a PDD. So the overall signage design plan, we didn't have that for this PDD. But if you go by the regular wall sign regulations, you are allowed to have two signs, provided that they're on two different sides of the building, either facing a parking lot or a street. So because it's PDD, again, the commission does have some more leeway or some more control over what the signs look like.
Okay, is the applicant's representative participating?
Yes, we're here, and my name is Lauren Rosen. I represent Artifacts.
Very good. Are there any comments, sir, that you would like to present to the commission?
Well, I could describe how the sign is made. I could give you stats on the basics. the fabrication, how it lights up, some of the detailing.
Okay. Any commissioners feel that they need any of that detail as to the mechanics of the sign?
No, I just like to clarify that the longer sign with the whole name, that's facing the parking lot. And the owl is facing Bridgeport Avenue. Is that correct?
It's the other way around.
The reverse.
other way around?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's-
the owl
I had the same
faces the parking
question.
lot.
That's what's proposed by the applicant. So I'd have to tell you, this is, was there somebody have a question?
Yeah, Commissioner,
Commissioner
Roger,
Kelly?
where is the main entrance? On the side or in the front?
No,
Hey.
it's right under that singular owl logo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey,
Just
With the
wondering
protection.
why the bigger of the two signs, not just the emblem of the owl, why wouldn't that be over the front of the entrance?
I think it's a good question. I think primarily they want people to see that they're there. And I think once you're in the parking lot, I think that you need to see the entrance. You're pretty much familiar with the name because you've seen it from the road. And
Yeah,
I
but
think they want to be seen from the road.
Okay, this particular sign, I think, is very well designed. It is, I think, very visually appealing, but I am just not in favor of the applicant's request for the positioning of it. I think we're going to be creating problems with this being done in this manner. And as Mr. O'Neill stated, this plaza is a PDD zone. The commission therefore has control over several aspects of the appearance of the building, including signs. In section 34.3.7A of our zoning regs state, all signs shall be limited to identification purposes rather than advertising. So there's no problem there. All signs shall be externally illuminated, and there's no problem there. But what I feel is applicable to this is multiple wall signs shall demonstrate elements of consistency with respect to colors, lettering style, and location. While this particular piece of property is somewhat elevated from Bridgeport Avenue, I think there's still a lot of visibility there. Plus, at the entrance is a monument sign where with sufficient space that the business can also have their name situated. Mr. Rossetti, do you have the two pictures I sent to you earlier via email that you could share on the screen? There you go. All right, so there's a picture taken earlier this afternoon. You could right behind the monument sign is the location of the little barn, and there's a close-up of the monument sign, and that shows the positions that are still available for advertising. So I personally
I'm not seeing this. Is anybody else not seeing this? I'm not.
I'm saying it.
No, I'm seeing it.
Oh, just me? Where is it? It's hiding.
take
It's up on the screen, Elaine.
yeah, I'm just wondering what kind of settings might be on Elaine's computer that she can't see it. Alex?
Yeah,
you want
I'm
me to
on my
go?
phone because I can't do this
Oh.
on my
Oh,
Kindle
that's
for some
probably why.
reason.
That's
Okay.
probably why.
Elaine, you'll see some other screens, and then you'll see the screen I think that's sharing.
Where is it? I also can't hear anybody.
Jimmy, you want to repeat that?
I think if you're on your phone, Elaine, if you're able to swipe across and see different faces, you might get to.
Yeah, I'm swiping, but I'm not. City of Shelton, would that be it? There's no
Keep going.
image there.
No, that's Alex.
Yeah, no. Well, anyway, no, I'm not seeing it.
Okay.
I had to say, I assumed wrongly that the larger sign would be facing the parking lot and that's where the main entrance to this restaurant is.
Mhm.
In which case I had no objection to the owl on the side of the building.
Right.
But that large sign facing Bridgeport Avenue, I'm not so keen on, especially at that height. And I don't see how that really would help identify that people would really be able to see that very well from Bridgeport Avenue.
Mhm. Okay,
I
I
have no
concur.
objection to signs, the sign on two sides of the building. There's only other one end of this building.
yeah, the one facing Bridgeport Avenue, it happens that the daycare center has the area in the back, at the, like at the top of the 7. And that's, you can see for the commissioners that.
Yeah, I don't think they'd want a sign on their end of building, so
No,
I
It
don't
wouldn't
think
make any sense.
this business having a sign at the end is really going to create a cascade of issues, but so that's my thoughts on that.
Okay, who else do we have here? Commissioner Parkins?
I concur. I had the same thought about Elaine. I thought that the larger sign was in the front of the building facing the parking lot and that the small owl was on the side. If you do recall, when we approved the marketplace, we did allow Arugas to have a not so visible, but still a representation of what that business was facing Nels Rock Road, if you will. So we have made that exception in the past for PDDs. I don't really have any big concern with putting an owl on the side of the building. It kind of just illustrates that whole area is the Little Barn restaurant. So I don't really have any objection to that sign. I, however, would not want to see any other businesses within that complex put their signs up on the side as well. As long as that whole side belongs to Little Barn, then I would think it's appropriate and I would have no objection to that.
Okay,
But Ruth, would you prefer that the larger sign be facing the parking lot?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's what I thought. I guess I didn't pay a lot of attention to detail because it is a very attractive looking sign and a very exciting restaurant coming to Shelton. I've got to add that. So I was very pleased to see that.
I think from what I understand, the people running this would be affiliated with the Spotted Horse.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. My only concern is that if they do put that owl on, if the commission approves that sole owl to be on the side of the building, is it over a door that's going to allow entry? So I think if, that I think could also be an exception. If it's going to be an entry door, then having a sign over it would not really, to me, be a problem. But if it's not, it may confuse people.
I don't know why you would have 2 entrances.
Well, I was just going to bring up this to staff. Has this particular applicant discussed anything about outdoor dining?
I'm sure they will be.
Yeah,
Well, the outdoor dining would be on the side of the
exactly. It would have to be on the
road. That's the area.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. And as that doesn't exist right now, I would think that if they do something that for the commissioners who are very familiar with the way that the outdoor dining was done across the street at Vazzi's, then having that owl over that type of entrance in and out of the restaurant to a fenced in dining area would be appropriate.
I
So,
agree.
yeah, I just don't like the idea of that single particular owl there. To me, it's just on the side of the building, just hanging out. And I think it's going to lead to problems with other tenants in the plaza saying, oh, I'd like my, and so what if it's not my lease space, So I'd rather just start off with the 2-line Little Barn American Pub with the owl over the front entrance. Staff, has the applicant come in for anything to be put on the monument sign?
We haven't.
Okay, staff hasn't received anything, so that could
But
be,
typically for these kind of situations, the monument sign's kind of a given. If they're putting the sign up on the building, we kind of
No.
assume the same sort of sign is going to be
no,
on
I
the
don't,
monument. So we
no.
don't necessarily
I
require
don't
it.
go along with that, Mr. O'Neill, that it's a given. This is a PDD. The staff needs to approve everything on here. That's the purpose, one of the purposes of PDD. So that application for the monument sign needs to come in separately. And I would be more than happy to give them this adequate space on the monument sign. But my position is the 2-line sign over the doorway, a monument sign later on. And at the time that if a outdoor dining does come in to, then they could include the owl over that particular entrance door, and maybe in an appropriate size. Seems to me a little bit big, but so. But Commissioner Tiki, what are your comments on this
Yeah,
particular
no, I agree
application?
with what I think we're all saying about the change of the sign. I agree with Commissioner Mattow's original comments. And,
Mhm.
but I do think it's a nice looking sign. It's certainly a nice looking building as well. So it'll be a nice addition, but I agree with what we have all said about this sign.
Okay. Oh, let me just ask one more time. Commissioner Wodomski, did you join in on the meeting? Mr. Rossetti, you don't see him in the waiting room or anything, right?
Negative.
I'm sorry?
So I guess this would be an appropriate time. Would the applicant feel comfortable?
Wait. Before we go on, is Commissioner Wodomski in on this meeting? Did he join in after I did attend?
Negative. He
No,
is not
okay.
attending.
So if he has not, then I'm seating alternate Commissioner Laskos for this. So Commissioner Laskos, do you have any comments on this?
I think the signs are fine the way they are, so I don't really see a concern. And since it is a PDD, I don't see a problem putting it towards the street. Doesn't sound like the rest of the commission agrees, but.
Well,
Mhm.
that's more
No.
like a billboard.
Yeah, I don't like the idea of that large sign facing Bridgeport Avenue, frankly. If they would agree to have that sign over the entry facing the parking lot, and I would be fine with that. And with the owl on the side of the building, I would be fine with that as well.
Mhm. I don't know so much as, and staff can correct me if I'm wrong, so much as it at the applicant agreeing to changing it, but our requirements that they do change it. This is a PDD and we have control over that as far as I understand. So, Mr. Rossetti, you started to say something about this being the appropriate time. Did you want to continue along that?
I was just going to ask if the applicant would be amendable to switching the locations of the 2 signs, and if the commission would be able to take a motion.
Okay. Mr. Rosen, do you have any comments?
Yeah, I have comments.
Mhm.
So, I came in this meeting not knowing what to expect.
Mhm.
I'm from down your neck of the woods, but I'm in the Hartford area.
Mhm.
So I haven't done a lot in Shelton. We used to do all of Ravis's work, and we did a few jobs along that way.
Mhm.
So with this particular sign, I came highly recommended.
Mhm.
So they stock a lot of faith in me to pull off miracles. But when I come to your meeting, it seems like the gavel's been banged and I'm telling jokes that aren't going to get any laughs.
Mhm.
So when I look at the situation, I say, why did I design what I designed? Now, what I told these guys, they asked me, how good is the design? And I said, it's probably the nicest sign in Fairfield County.
It's a very attractive sign. The 2 line. Yep.
They said, could it get through zoning? I said, I don't know the zoning down there. I know square footage wise we're within.
Mhm.
And they asked me, what, if you had this restaurant, where would the sign be facing? I said, it's a no-brainer. It'd be facing the road. If you're leasing 5,000 square feet, you're paying the rent that you're going to pay. To have it facing the parking lot is useless.
Mhm.
I said, that's how we feel.
Mhm.
So I said, let me design something that's as tasteful as I could possibly design to represent your logo in a way where it's not perceived as a sign that's oversized for the space.
Mhm.
But if it's a foregone conclusion, I think, what we did was we tried to tie in with a nursery school. Because when I looked at the system here and I said, You have a pylon sign, and let me scale out your letters. Little barn comes out to 2¼ inches. It's going to do you no good at all. So if you don't have the sign on the side of the building, no one's going to see where you are. So as far as impulse buys, that's out. You have to be an established restaurant there for you to gain an audience. But if you're looking for the signs to do the trick, if this sign isn't on the side of the building that faces the road, you just rented a space that's kind of worthless. I'd recommend you go someplace else. Those are my words.
Mhm.
I don't know how to represent it differently. I don't know what to say.
Are you, when you talk about the pylon sign, are you talking about the monument sign down at the, by the entrance?
The monument. So what's happened is, I guess the nursery school, and I can't remember the name off the bat.
Mhm.
Strong start.
Yes, and I spoke with that gentleman when I was there surveying, a very nice guy. He was telling me about his sign and he was proud, and it was good to hear. I was saying to myself, I hope this center fills up. The guy did a really nice job with those, the tiles, and it's tastefully done. But we try to tie in with that sign. You know, it's a dual halo frontlit type of sign. And I said, if we could tie in with the system and give it a little bit of a twist, I think at least visually it makes sense. It's on the same plane. You see them at a glance.
Mhm.
You know, so in the technique of the sign, how it's built, where you have a halo lit logo letter, and then a front lit letter, and then a day night letter, it has like every highly established trick in the book. It's a subtlety. There's a lot of subtleties in it, but it's a sign that's meant to entertain in a very theatrical way. So I'm saying to myself, you know, I don't know what better I could do to get that sign on the roadside, but really that's of consequence to them. And I know when I go back to them tomorrow and say, you know, I decided and I agreed with the commission that we're going to do a flip-flop, they'll come after me with machetes.
No, they shouldn't come after you. You can tell them to get in touch with the chair, and I'll be happy to talk to them. You could also talk to staff, but if they're the personnel that are from Spotted Horse, they're familiar with Shelton. I think they're familiar with all the businesses up and down Bridgeport Avenue. I think we're going to be inconsistent if we position it on the side of the building facing Bridgeport Avenue. I don't think that there's a relationship between this particular tenant and the daycare. It happens that the daycare took the space that parallels Bridgeport Avenue. So, and if Mr. Rossetti put the wide shot of the that was up earlier, I think it shows that they have a lot of visibility coming on Bridgeport Avenue. It's that elevation has been cut down quite a bit. I don't know if you're familiar with what that site looked like from before, but they brought down that hill quite a bit. So
I could picture it, you know, from driving by there. I think their visibility is probably, you know, from one side. If it was my restaurant, my building, I know what I would tell you.
mhm.
But you know, listen, as I said, if the gavel's banged, what am I going to do to unbang the gavel? You know, I'm a human being. There's not much I could do here.
Gavel hasn't been banged because we haven't taken a vote yet. We haven't even gotten a motion on the floor.
Chairwoman, if I may respectfully disagree with the artistic applicant. You know, word travels really fast in this town, especially via social media. So once people learn of this restaurant, it's not going to need a billboard size sign on the side of the building facing Bridgeport Avenue for people to find it.
Mhm.
You know, if they've got the same reputation, Spotted Horse is a huge success in Shelton, and I'm sure that this restaurant will be as well. Just looking at the menu from the Westport version, we're just trying to keep a very clean, consistent look in these types of developments, and by putting the large sign on the side of the building, it's not accomplishing that. It's making it a billboard, if you will, to the side of the building. And it's not where your front entrance is. So that big sign really belongs over the front entrance, as most of the commission, as all of the commissioners most have agreed to at this point. So
Yeah.
again, you know, if the commission is so inclined to approve just the owl, something you might want to consider on the monument, because you want to get larger than 2¼ inch letters, is to possibly put the owl on its own line and then put little pub underneath it, just to, again, get it a little bit larger to accomplish your goal.
I don't think that
And-
monument sign needs it myself, but.
In ratio, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
The monument sign doesn't work for this place.
Right.
It's unfortunately, it doesn't work in its ratio. It just doesn't work.
Okay,
Uh,
all right,
yeah.
so any other comments from anybody participating?
Well, it sounds like the applicant's representative may need to take this back to the applicant. But otherwise, I think it sounds like we have reached a consensus. I think the only question is about whether the little owl gets okayed along with the larger sign.
You're correct. You're correct, Commissioner Amato. So
Could we table it?
if at the request of the applicant, there's a request for tabling it, do any of the commissioners have any objections to that?
Nope.
No,
Okay,
No,
very good. All right, so I'll entertain a motion to table.
so be it.
Motion to table from Commissioner Kelly. Is there a second?
second,
And
Commissioner
that
Parkins,
Commissioner
second.
Parkins. Okay, on the motion to table from Commissioner Kelly, seconded by Commissioner Parkins, I'll do a roll call vote. Commissioner Tiki,
Aye.
Commissioner Amato,
Aye.
Commissioner Lascos,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Motion to table has been approved 6-0. And staff, if you participate in any kind of conversations, would you just clarify for the commission as to whether or not this particular applicant is thinking of coming in for exterior dining? Okay,
Not a problem.
thank you very much. All right, next, under new business is application 2109, PDD number 55. And that is Dominic Thomas for Dexon LLC, modification of a detailed development plan and statement of uses and standards to subdivide the lot at 2 Ivy Brook Road to create 2 lots for medical and professional offices. Can I have a motion to accept for review?
Have a motion.
Okay, Commissioner Kelly's made a motion to accept for review. And also this would be to set a public hearing date. Let me clarify that. And staff would inform us as to what that public hearing date would be. So is there a second to Commissioner Kelly's motion for review and staff to set a public hearing date?
Second.
And that's Commissioner Amato. Okay, on the motion from Commissioner Kelly, seconded by Commissioner Amato, to accept the application 4995 for review and for staff to set a public hearing date, do a roll call. Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Parkins.
Aye.
Ruth, did you say something?
Aye.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Commissioner Lascos,
Aye.
Commissioner Amato,
Aye.
Commissioner Tiki. Jimmy,
He's muted.
oh,
You're on
you,
mute, Jim.
there you go.
Sorry, I think I'm on a bad connection as well, but aye.
Okay, thank you. And the chair votes aye, so the motion to accept for review and set a public hearing date is approved 6-0. Mr. Rossetti, you have any idea for a date right now?
Madam Chairman, can I address the commission briefly?
Yeah,
on
let me
this?
just ask Mr. Rossetti, do you have a date that in mind?
A date in mind is April 28th.
Okay. All right, Attorney Thomas, you got the floor.
Well, no, that's exactly what I was going to ask. This is similar to what you just did at 762 Bridgeport Avenue. I'm sorry, 762 River Road. This is another REIT that's coming in to buy an existing medical building.
Mhm.
And the attorneys for the REIT had contacted me. It took us a while to set this up because we had to, this is a 2005 PDD, and we had to identify where all the utilities were and create the appropriate easements. So they were anxious to get this, the process begun. So I'm happy to have the public hearing on the
28th.
28th, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
and,
Thank you.
We'll get all the details
Yeah.
from you at that time.
You will, yes.
Very good. Okay, next agenda item is the public portion. Mr. Rossetti, is there anyone from the public in the waiting room that wishes to speak?
Give me 1 second. I'm just kind of shuffling a couple things around.
Sure.
There is no one from the public.
Okay. No one from the public, and so we'll go on to other business. First, comments from the chair. I don't have any comments at this time. For subcommittee, Ms. Commissioner Motto, anything from the zoning subcommittee?
No.
Okay, Commissioner Kelly, comments from the downtown subcommittee?
No, unless Mr. Nappi does.
He's on my list. I'll get to him.
Okay.
Then we have staff, Mr. Rossetti.
I do have a number of comments, Madam Chair.
Okay, you have the floor.
As you are all well aware, the topic of affordable housing has been pretty prevalent in both mainstream news and our kind of local P&Z news. I am putting together a couple of surveys, which I will send out to you guys for review. Additionally, I'll also be sending out some informational links that I know it's a little dry, but if you could read through it and scan through it, just kind of familiarize yourself with some of the material, that would be a big help as we move forward in trying to engage both the public and you, the commissioners, and have a educated discussion on what we'd like to see happen with encouraging, and not just affordable housing, but various types of housing, such as accessory dwelling units, allowing for higher density developments kind of in multifamily areas like the R4 and R5 zones, etc. So more information will be coming there, so please stay tuned.
Mr. Rossetti, can I ask you, the surveys that you mentioned, who would be the recipient of those surveys?
At first, I'll send them to the commission and ask for some feedback, but then eventually they will be going out to as many people as possible. They'll be posted online. We'll reach out to the Shelton Public Schools to see if they have a place they could post them. We'll post them on the city's new website, which I'll get to shortly.
These are the survey would be for residents in town?
Correct, and just trying to gain feedback as to concerns of the general public, perhaps questions. I think there's some misconception of what affordable housing is, as I'm sure most of you are aware of what it actually entails, not what it's often imagined to be. So we're really just trying to make sure we cover our bases and include the public as much as we can. And of course, there will be a formal discussion for the commission as we get closer to adopting some regulations and going through drafts for that. Tying into that, I have some comments for the zoning subcommittee. As most of you saw, I believe the mayor's presentation last week for the Moss property. And let me just pop to a different screen here. So, why isn't this working? Where did it go? Did I lose it? Sorry about that.
Take your time. Is this like the GIS thing?
Yeah, I just wanted to pull up the zoning map quickly. So here we have our beautiful map. As most of you are aware, there is quite a bit of light industrial park zoning throughout the city, including Constitution Boulevard South
Mhm.
and Constitution Boulevard North. And right here where my marker is, hopefully you can see it, that is the Moss property. And the administration has asked us to look at rezoning this property for future development that is in line with what the intended uses are, which we believe should or could be light industrial park. However, there are some changes that we would like to make to Schedule A, which is for the permitted uses. One of those items is, where'd it go? Warehousing. So
Line 40.
warehousing is in the wholesale business is currently not allowed in an LIP zone, as well as some other types of light manufacturing that would seem appropriate for a light industrial park zone. And those are topics that I will bring up with the zoning subcommittee, which is Commissioner Motto, Parkins, and Wadomski. So I will be reaching out to you guys along with Fran Teodosio and Tony Panico to set up a meeting so we can look at some of the future proposals and hopefully set that area up for development that you think the commission would be comfortable with and future applicants. So
Mr. Rossetti, I'd like to sit in on any meetings about that. Thank you.
that would be a quorum, so I don't think I can do that.
All right, we'll see.
I mean, I can talk to you later, but I can't include you on those meetings, unfortunately.
Mhm.
So the next thing is the city is finalizing a contract for a new website. I'm sure you've all had some interesting experiences navigating our current web page.
Good news, good news.
With mixed emotions. It does not fall on deaf ears. So we're hopefully going to get that going pretty soon. So keep your eyes peeled. That should make navigating minutes, agendas, material, hopefully a little bit easier for everybody, and hopefully uploading material a little bit easier for everybody.
Are you in the bid process, if I may ask?
We have already kind of gotten through the bid process. We've picked
Okay.
the finalists and we're hoping to get the contract nailed down, which also ties into, we're going to be updating our online GIS platform, as a lot of that information is years old, which is unfortunate, along with the lot information. So that should be updated kind of within the coming months. And we are hoping to utilize some of the funds from both state and federal funding for COVID-related uses. Predominantly, it seems, and I'm not the expert on this, but it seems like a lot of the funds have been earmarked for IT infrastructure to allow easier access for the public and public officials. And so we're hoping this might be an appropriate use for those funds. So stay tuned for that.
Alex, can you, I don't know if you can share, but is the contracting of the website upkeep being given to the same contractor, or is that going to be in-house?
No, so the new contractor, to the best of my knowledge, so the website that is currently in use was created by a tech person, like an IT support firm. The city is engaging in a web design firm that actually designs websites for various municipalities and corporations. So it'll be a much more professional looking site that just manages websites. And I believe they will be in charge of managing the website with their staff and their support, not just.
Awesome. Good news. Very good news.
So, fingers crossed on that. In terms of in the office, we have also engaged the services of the Kennedy Center, and they will be helping us with a lot of in-office scanning and filing and all that good stuff, trying to get our files more digital for the new software that's coming in. And that will tie in with our permitting process, and just hopefully cleaning up the office. So that's kind of a summary of additional projects that we're working on outside of zoning. And last thing would be is I know Ken and some of the developers are working together, and he'll have a downtown kind of status update for everybody pretty soon. And that's all I've got. So I will reach out to Elaine, Mark, Ruth, Fran, and Tony in the next week or so we can hopefully pin down a time, and I will send out some relevant information so that we can have a enlightened conversation about the LIP zone and potential other changes for our regulations to help bring some of the existing LIP zones into conformity and allow for some future development. So that's all I've got.
So Alex, when you say that's all I've got, I'm thinking that's quite a lot.
Certainly is.
We don't want them to get bored.
I guess not.
Yeah. Okay, anybody have any comments before we move on to Mr. O'Neill?
Yeah, just a question. So Alex, I think on the Moss property, that is a hugely important piece of land. So we've done similar things with past massive projects where we either bring it out to the whole commission where we can all take it up, or I would request we really keep the information, flowing. If a committee of 3 or perhaps 4, if the chairman is sitting in, that we can get it out to the full 6 commissioners, because it's a really important piece of land. And I think if we can just keep the lines of communication flowing on what the subcommittee and staff and the chairman are working on would be important as we take this up.
Alex, maybe you can clarify, what do you expect to come out of the zoning subcommittee meetings on this particular topic?
Staff has worked with Fran and the mayor to try and understand what the vision is as far as the administration's point of view. We feel like we have a good picture of the intentions, and as most of you are aware of the presentation last week of what the mayor would like to see go there. And so we're working with him to try and find a way to make that work. And this is kind of twofold. There are some changes we'd like to see made regardless of the Moss property, because there are many pre-existing uses in the LIP zone that, if we could modify Schedule A, would bring those uses into conformity, which we think would be appropriate. And twofold is to allow for the development of the Moss property in an LIP zone, rather than reinvent the wheel with some new type of statement of use, or, we have a mechanism to allow for this type of development. So why not use it if we just have to tweak it a little bit? So that's where our frame of mind is.
Well, that's good that you've evaluated what this chart looks like, and you're looking into the future as to how to make it more efficient, work better for us. Okay, anybody?
Chairwoman,
Go ahead.
if you recall, when we did the regulations for the PRD or our whatever it's called now, we held workshops for the full commission. So while the subcommittee met and the chair of that subcommittee reports back to the commission, we also had full committee workshops before any vote was taken. So just to alleviate some concerns for folks that want to make sure that they're in the loop. That's how we handled it previously. So
Good.
I would imagine that's going to be the same setup, that we would have workshops for the full commission.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. That's a good point. And then I did share with staff the study that was done. It was about 3-4 years ago. That was prepared about the Moss property and extension of Constitution Boulevard, and that was shared with staff just to make sure that they had a copy of it. Okay, anybody else? Okay, so Mr. O'Neill, do you have any comments for the commission?
On the zoning enforcement end, there's not anything substantial enough to bring in front of the commission at this time. We have been in contact with the liquor store on Howe Avenue regarding their signs.
Mhm.
We're going to get that squared away in the next couple of weeks, I assume.
Yeah, that's a
Well,
long
other
time
than that-
coming.
That's been going from bad to worse.
I know
Years.
it's been,
Yes.
yeah, I know it's it's been getting.
That was a really
like you
good
said,
call,
bad to worse.
Elaine.
Thank you.
And they also have sandwich boards up there that block
Yeah,
the
that's
view
right.
of traffic coming down.
Yeah,
That's
that
right.
is on the top of our list. You know,
I
for
do
the
want to
coming weeks.
point out, Josh, Mr. O'Neill, that
Yep.
a number of years ago, staff went down at my request as just a commissioner, not the chair, because they had those big oval wavy signs stuck in along the sidewalk. But they didn't pursue anything else, and that was a disappointment. That it obviously was not in conformity at that time. So I'm glad to see that there's going to be some attention brought to it, because really, you know, we can't have a situation where not every retailer or tenant is treated fairly. If our regulations say you only have so many square footage or whatever square feet of
Right.
signs coverage, then that's it, you know. So but before I forget, maybe you should look into Liberty Tax, where they moved into where the
Yeah,
subway used
that's
to
it.
be.
I mean, I've been informed that that's a temporary location for, you know, about another couple of months. Their original location burned down. So, you know, we can tailor, you know, a couple of banners here and there. You know, I mean, it's a temporary solution. They're going to be moving out in a couple of months, so it's not a permanent sign.
Well,
by any
even though
means.
tax season the filing date has been extended, let's keep on top of that.
One of the ongoing problems is we have no ability to enforce via fines.
That's right.
That's our biggest dilemma, that there is no recourse for us to impose fines. That has to be done through the Board of Aldermen. And I believe at some point, this whole sign issue was brought to them.
It was.
And I don't recall what the outcome of that was.
It was never.
Does anybody else recall?
Yeah.
Nothing.
There was a specific, I've had talks with Mr. Anglaise, and it's just not something that they feel that they need to go forward with at this time. So,
Prone to do.
Yeah.
I feel like we get a decent amount or a good amount of compliance through, you know, voluntary letters, which we send out for every complaint, which gives them 10 days to either, you know, correct the violation or come talk to us to figure out a way to remedy the situation. And I think that's made good progress so far. But other than that, you know, when it comes down to it, if people are very stubborn, you know, I agree. There's not a lot of teeth to our, you know, enforcement when it comes to that.
Yeah.
But it, you know, and the very few times it does come to that, it would be useful.
Yeah.
All right, good luck, Josh. Go get him.
So is there anything worthwhile, Mr. O'Neill, for you to communicate to the staff about what you and Mr. Nappy did today when you went out on inspections? Anything?
I mean, there was a number of inspections. I think we visited, you know, 10 to 12 sites today in the afternoon, you know, numerous complaints, you know, whether it's grading, filling, you know, residential construction, or it's a commercial business in a residential zone. So there's nothing too specific to report yet. We still did the initial inspections today on a lot of those. You know, it's an ongoing process, but I can provide updates if anything, you know, concrete comes down other than a voluntary letter, if we have to issue a cease and desist or something like that.
Well, it's good to know some idea of the different types that you're doing, because, you know, it's not unusual for someone on the commission to directly or through me get in touch with the staff to say, what's going on here? I don't remember this. Is this a permitted? You know, that kind of thing. So, okay, if there's nothing else for Mr. O'Neill, Mr. Nappy.
Hi.
Whoa.
Yeah, the downtown developers are moving by themselves to do a couple things. One, they've proposed a shuttle from the municipal parking lots to the downtown areas. And the mayor has authorized the use of 2 buses that we had purchased from Valley Transit to be used in that venture. And their downtown people are going to put some money in it to beautify the area. We're also working with them to try to get more lighting on Center Street with the lamp lights, and going directly to them. We've had much success with the police department. They now have patrols on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. The chief has initiated stop and talk patrols, which means that they stop the patrol cars, they get out and they visit all the businesses that are open, mainly restaurants, on both Howe Avenue and Center Street. And it's been very popular. It's gotten a good reception from the business owners. And the most important thing, it's cut down on the number of incidents that are happening in the downtown area. But they're interested in beautifying the downtown area. They'll be working amongst themselves to see if they can come up with a cost savings proposal to put some planters out. In addition to that, the parking lot, Eversource, which is across from Cedar Village, the city has a lease on it. The holdup is Eversource has to do some remedial work on that in order to seal the site. They're working on it at no cost to the city. The design of the sign has been approved by the city. We're mapping out with the police department the signage to show people coming in downtown where to park free. I might add, the only thing that's going to be impacting it will be the closing of the Chromium process lot, which houses about 72 vehicles. And once that development moves ahead, those parking cars will be replaced to go into either the 415 lot or the post office lot. So things are moving. They're working by themselves ahead to benefit their businesses and come within compliance with our regulations.
So for that shuttle, is there going to be some signage, or is the painting, is it going to?
Yeah, I've stripped the buses of the Valley Transit. We'll come up with some signage, temporary signage for the shuttle. The trolley system has not gone away. Mayor is looking for a replica of a trolley car. The problem with that is that the hotels are not at the level they used to be. So that it's sort of put a damper on our extension up to Bridgeport Avenue. But they are working at it. I've talked to Charlie, and we will have a downtown subcommittee meeting shortly to bring everybody up to date on what's happening downtown. There is a pause on Center Street, 62 Center Street, because of the cost of DEP is putting into the tunnel. It's over $1 million just for the tunnel, and the cost so far by bidding has come in about $11 million. So they're reevaluating what has to be done at that site. The Simonetti cleaners, and I'll give a full report either next month or the month after, hopefully before summer. There's a restaurant proposed for that site also. They will be coming in this week to talk about what they can put there and the parking that would be available. So there is some movement to increase some restaurants, but again, there's the dampening because of the parking situation.
Nobody's jumped on the empty Walgreens right across the street?
I understand that may be rented shortly, but we did approach the owners of that to allow free parking there, but there were some insurance problems and the owners did not want to go ahead with it.
Mr. Knapp, can you just clarify? I don't know if I heard you wrong, but at the beginning when you started speaking about the shuttle, you mentioned it would be coming from the municipal parking lots. So you're referring to?
Well, we're talking about,
Conti?
excuse me, we're talking about the Conti lot. Because
Okay.
you have to, when you're doing a shuttle, of course, you have to allocate a certain amount of spots to that shuttle and signage so that people will park there and then we'll have a run. The other thing is the signage needs to be finalized, and that they're working on that. Don Stanziel has taken that upon himself with the city's blessing to move ahead and come up with the signage, which is now being finalized as to the design, which will be submitted to the administration and approval of.
Okay, maybe you could just jot a note that about 3 years ago, the city purchased brand new trash cans, decorative iron kind of 4-sided ones. And I don't think they've ever been assembled and placed downtown.
Right, that's the other thing, excuse me, the other thing is that the mayor will be, will instructed us to utilize the Parks and Recs for cleanup of downtown and areas. And part of that are the planters and also the trash receptacles.
Yeah, the receptacles was, Eric, Alderman McPherson and I got the catalogs at the mayor's suggestion from Mr. Herrick, and he approved the purchase of them, and they went through purchasing, so they're
They
somewhere.
have been purchased. by now.
List, yeah, the list of sites was submitted to the mayor for his approval.
Okay.
So,
We'll follow up on that.
great, that'd be good.
Charlie, that's all I have instead of, do you have anything else, Mr. Kelly?
Charlie muted. There you go.
No, nothing at this time. The only thing I was going to say, you know, if there is a problem downtown right now with the restaurants or whatnot, I know a few years ago, they had the same problem in Bridgeport on Cannon Street with Ralph and Richie's, and they decided to get their own, you know, off-duty policeman or something to escort the people back and forth to their cars or parking lot. So, you know, if that could deter what's ever happening downtown.
Mhm.
Hopefully, we'll utilize the shuttle buses to do that. And the increased patrols on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday will, of course, be directed to where they're parking also.
All right, now,
The
also with
mayor
the,
did appropriate some money for additional lighting, I believe, at 415 Howe Avenue, which is the Conti building. Part of the problem is people want to make sure that there's sufficient lighting in case they have to walk from that area.
Mhm.
now, the signage for the additional municipal parking lots. Is Don doing that for all the parking lots involved?
That will be for all of the city, and it's tailored after Milford's, which says, "Welcome to the city of Milford."
Right,
Public
I think,
park.
yeah, okay, very good. That's all I have.
A couple of years ago too, Alderman McPherson did at downtown subcommittee meetings, I believe, also talk about lighting and the poles that are on Howe Avenue, right across from Downtown Pizza that face the Conti parking lot. So this is Mr. Stanziel familiar with that? Has anybody have any conversations with Mr.
Well,
McPherson?
Mr. Stanziel has 3 lighting poles that were part of his detailed review, which this commission did, and they've been installed already.
Mhm. Yeah, but that's the next block. The
That's
Conti
right in
pole.
front of Cedar Village. That's correct.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question, Mr. Nappy? Ken,
Sure.
is there any thought about extending the shuttle up to the state parking lot on Bridgeport Avenue, or is because it's a state parking lot, we can't utilize that?
Yeah, because of the covert, in fact, we worked with Josh and Alex on this and the downtown committee, Mr. Kelly. And that the trolley was supposed to go all the way up Bridgeport Avenue to the hotels and go all the way down to Derby at the train station. So that the developers had requested that stop also. So yeah, that's included in it.
But
We're
that's
mapping out
for the
stops
trolley.
now. Well, we could use the shuttle to do the same thing.
You could, okay, because that, people that are from out of town that are looking to come and try some of the many restaurants that are downtown may feel, great if I can just go to this, state commuter lot and park there and take the shuttle into downtown. That would certainly be attractive to them.
Mhm.
Right. We'll try to build that in.
For sure.
Or
Okay,
even residents.
yeah. Especially with the price.
Well, a lot of residents at the new apartments did recommend that they be included in that so they can go up to Bridgeport Avenue and visit those restaurants up there also.
Good deal.
Mhm. Okay. There's no other comments. We can move on to our next agenda item, which is the March 9th and March 24th minutes for approval. Does anybody have any comments or changes for the March 9th minutes? Does anybody have any comments or changes for the March 24th minutes? Okay,
Nope.
here, go ahead.
No,
Okay.
no comments.
All right, so hearing none, is there a motion to approve both the March 9th and March 24 minutes as submitted?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, motion from Commissioner Parkins. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Tiki. So on the motion to approve the March 9th and March 24th minutes from Commissioner Parkins, seconded by Commissioner Tiki. We'll do a roll call. Commissioner Tiki,
Aye.
Commissioner Lascos,
Aye.
Commissioner Motto,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
and Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Okay, seeing that there's no other item on the agenda, the chair declares the meeting adjourned as of 7:04 PM.